Do you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and anything? All I want. I am one of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it. My costume makes me a sovereign citizen. Bum, 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 bum. I can go anywhere I want. Bum, bum, bum. You recognize my sovereignty, or else we'll gang up on you. You are detained because I broke the law and I'm a sovereign. Yeah. I gotta say, man, sometimes the stuff I come up with on the top of my head even impresses the other me. Yes, there's two of me. I have a twin. Nah, that's not true. I'm sure I have a doppelganger. Anyway, there's a minute of nothing. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Here is an amazing video edited by The Blade. I've seen this in its entirety. Now this edited version by The Blade is amazing. Again, this is The Blade. I am John Felix. This is The Blade. I'm going to subscribe. I'm going to click the bell. I'm going to click the other bell so I see everything. I'm going to click the thumbs up. If you don't want to hear me talk, leave now. Go to The Blade. Anyway, this is some type of building, federal or non-federal, but it does have federal IRS office in it. This guy in the bottom left and right-hand corner of these pictures, the bald black guy with the glasses on top of his head, he went into an IRS office on unofficial business. The security guard there asked him if he was there on official business. He said no. Then he told him he cannot have his weapons in there. And then he starts telling him to take his hands off his weapons. The cop, can't believe that the guy's not recognizing that he's a sovereign citizen. Doesn't listen to the guy's directives and is uncooperative. And this is going to be a long video, so here we go.
Second floor. 433. I think you know where that's at, right? 433 should be like right here.
I hope they show, I don't remember because I just watched this whole thing and it's kind of long. So there he is after he told him several times to take his hands off his gun. Off his weapons.
I think it's this. I think it's in the fifth third. Doesn't say no, it's on that side. Sure? Yeah, because 425, 433. It's on Summit, Internal Revenue Service. Good, right?
Oh, so they didn't really show what really happened inside the office. He went in there. He said, "You're here on non-official business." He's like, "Yes, I'm here on non-official business." And he's like, "You can't have your guns in here." He kept telling him to take his hands off his weapons, but the cop, because he's a sovereign citizen, egotistical maniac, couldn't listen to the security guard, just do what he said and dispel his, because anyone can go in there. Cops go crazy all the time. They don't have the moral high ground. Like they think they should.
Second floor.
So that security guard was trying to keep him from leaving the scene.
Got it.
How you doing, man? So I stopped up here to ask a question about.
Gentlemen, I need to talk to you before he talks to you.
We're right here.
here.
Okay, again, I stopped up to ask a question. You want to pull him aside? It's fine. I stopped up to ask a question about
He makes sure to do all the cop explaining first and get his side of the story out first.
situation. When I walked in, he said, "If you're up here on official business," I said, "No."
That gentleman out there, he's not here on official business. He came in here with his weapons. I told him he couldn't have them. He had his hands on his weapons. I told him to remove his hands from his weapons. He didn't listen. I drew on him.
That cop is in disbelief that someone didn't recognize their sovereignty.
Even if he's an officer?
You're not allowed to have your weapons on
Even if he's a sovereign?
federal property. Even us. Even you. Unless you're
Even us sovereigns?
on official business. Which right now you're responding to a call. If you're on official business, you're good to go.
He said, "Well, you can't leave your weapon up here. You're going to have to take everything off." I said, "Well, do you have a locker?" He said, "No, we don't. You're going to have to take it to the car." And I said, "Well, I have been up here once before."
310, you can have it here.
And they never said, nah. So another gentleman stood up and said, "Hey, you got to do what he says or you're being disruptive," I believe he said.
I wasn't here.
No, I'm just saying. I said, "Okay." And I said, "That's fine." I just said, "But there's no locker, and this is what I'm doing." I said, "So there's no locker?"
You still got it on you, right?
Yeah, it's on his hair.
Yeah, I still got mine. He still got his gun.
And there's film to see, and he goes, "Get your hands off your gun." I said, "Get your hands off your weapon." I said, "I don't have my hands on my weapon." He immediately goes and he draws his weapon out, points it at me. I said, "What is wrong with you?" And I said, "I'm leaving." He
What's wrong with you? You're acting like us.
follows me out. He said, "It's too late now. You're going in cuffs." So he follows me around the corner here. And I said, "You need to go back inside." I hit the elevator to get off. He said, "No." He said, "No, you're not getting off."
Did you even, like, say anything to him that he should?
I told him, I asked him, "Are you here on official business?" He said, "No." Okay, you have to take your weapons off the property. You cannot have them here. He asked me if there was some place where he could store them. I said, "No, there's no place here on the property that you can store them. You're gonna have to take them off the property."
What's the law? What's the law as far as somebody bringing? I understand you're.
And this is just how I'm saying.
What's the law of bringing a firearm?
This is just how I'm standing with my hand on my weapon. His hand is on his weapon right there. I'm just standing here with my hand on my weapon. In a place where I'm not allowed to have weapons. Doesn't this costume grant me sovereignty?
Arms in the government, and like when you're. He's not an official, even though he's on county. He's on county time. This we'll check all the records you have to do, but he's coming here on personal business, and he's not an official business. And he can't bring his firearm.
As long as he's in uniform.
As long as he has his costume on, he do whatever he wants. He's wearing his costume.
But he's not uniform.
But he's not an official business.
Doesn't matter as long as he's in uniform. Because what if he? And here's my what if. What if he just got off shift or was going to take care of this because he doesn't live in the city or close to here before he?
You bring a change of clothes because you know you have to go somewhere where you're not allowed to be armed. And here comes some cop-splaining from this guy.
Was home. Okay, and then it just, and I'm just playing devil's advocate for you so you can understand. Say he does put all of his stuff in his car and locks his car up. Somebody breaks in and steals all of his stuff. Now we got some criminal running around.
He probably shouldn't be here on
you know what I'm saying?
time either. You know.
Well,
I just came to ask a simple question.
That's up to him.
And I got
I'm just trying to get all the facts straight.
said call because this.
Yeah.
Yes, he pointed his gun at me.
Arrest that son of a bitch.
You can't point your
What's that some bitch?
gun at someone. And this isn't even a life-threatening situation. And I turned around and walked away, and he's still pointing.
How does he know it's not a life-threatening situation? Cops go crazy all the time and murder their whole family. And commit murder-suicides all the time. What are you talking about, dummy? We don't know who the hell you are. Anyone can get a police costume.
Other civilians.
I didn't see that.
My whole
There's
issue.
cameras here. There's cameras. There are cameras here. Please look at your cameras.
My whole issue is that he's in uniform. I mean,
That's common sense.
It's
The whole issue is that he's wearing a sovereign citizen costume that anyone could buy.
clear that he is a deputy.
No, yeah.
That's like one of us coming up here dressed like this.
I was told about this after the fact.
Yeah, no, and I'm just saying, I mean, he can walk over to the government building and walk anywhere in government center he wants dressed like that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I mean, now if I go over there and I'm in civilian clothes, I have to secure my weapon.
This is what happened.
So-
This is what happened to me. Okay, I was told that there was a security incident, and I didn't know. I didn't know.
He's a hothead, and he's a wannabe, and he's going to cause some issues.
He's a hothead and he's a wannabe. He's a hothead and he's a wannabe. Who's the wannabe?
I didn't know
They're going to point it right at me.
I didn't know it was a law enforcement official.
Yeah.
So
Neither did we when we came up there.
So I came in, and I thought you were here to here to help, and I didn't know it was.
No, it wasn't me. And you know what? I figured this guy's got some issues, so I'm going to just leave anyway. No, it's too late. I'm putting cuffs on you. Stop. And he comes out and he's screaming while pointing his gun at me.
Why were you being uncooperative? Why didn't you just cooperate? Did your ego get in the way? Is it the clash of the sovereigns?
So when I pull my phone out to take a picture of it, he puts it away. I said, well, there's cameras in there anyway.
Yeah. Personally, I'd haul his ass in. I don't care if he's a FPS employee or not. There's no fucking reason. I quit carrying my gun up here.
We don't care who he is. We're the sovereigns in this country. We don't care.
When I was sworn, because they said, well, you can't have it in here. I could go to the 7th floor.
Yes, I can go to
the 7th
and that's
floor.
where I go. I'm in the building all the time. I serve subpoenas over here. So they have no problem with it.
Right.
And I only had one question. Once
Subpoenas are official business.
they said that, okay, I'll leave. He had a hard-on for me from the minute I walked in.
Like police have a hard-on for you, people.
You drew on him?
He had his hands on his weapon. I gave him ample time. I told him no fewer than 3 times to get his hands off his weapons. He wouldn't. I turned it from having his hand on his pistol to having his hand on his teeth to having his hand on his baton. So I told him to turn around, put his hands up, and get his hands off his weapon. And he just listened. Then he turned around and he just drew my gun on him.
And once you walked away?
I mean, he was facing me at first. I drew my weapon, told him to turn around, and they kept on walking. I still had my weapon out, but I wasn't pointing at his back. And I'm here, and I've kept him here because he was violating my directives, and he just can't be here with a weapon, so he wasn't listening.
Well,
Where did this happen? At right here or in the
Inside of the federal property.
well, if he was walking away, then obviously he was leaving.
Yeah, the problem was he had ample time to listen to my directives before that. At the time that he was walking away, it was after I told him to turn around and put his hands up.
Notice how the security guard is direct and to the point and objective and factual, whereas the cops are cussing and saying, who is this guy? Who is this wannabe? Who this? Who that? And now they're all conspiring and trying to get this security guard arrested.
You have it posted?
It's posted on both the entrances here. It's posted as you go in there, no weapons allowed.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Because he can carry in the building.
It's posted
Maybe
on
not
the
up
building.
here.
I don't have any weapons. It's on every entrance. It's also posted no fewer than 2 times before you go into there. It's posted.
Well, I get that, but as far as I know,
I get that, but we're sovereign citizens. What don't you understand?
we are all allowed in this building on unofficial business. Maybe not your office,
Yeah.
but up here in the whole building, I'm pretty sure that we can.
Well,
But I don't know. But
Pretty sure, in other words, don't really know, and I'm talking out my...
we're not really concerned about that now. We're just talking about what happened in the office.
yeah, I mean, I gave him the information right as soon as he came in. He refused to leave right off the bat. Kept on refusing to leave. And then it became a non-choice for him. Afterwards, he had his choice. And he didn't listen.
Well, we got cameras up here.
So, cops, this security guard was treating the cops like the cops treat everybody else. And now they're ganging up on him, trying to get him to trip up his words, and he's not, because he's being 100% factual, non-emotional, not cussing, and watch their behavior versus his.
Just scrap that saying.
What's his reason?
He's saying that since it's a federal building and the offices up here, that no one's allowed, regardless of status, to have a firearm.
What? Regardless of status? Even if we're sovereign? From the rest of the population?
In the building.
Really?
Yeah.
What's he got on him?
This is not a...
Oh, he can have a gun, but I can't? Huh?
No, it's not.
This is a federal office
Right.
there, but from there to here down, it's private.
Right.
This is our suspect with the gun.
This pound put his gun.
I'm gonna leave it. His gun. Then we'll let him leave.
Who did this?
He doesn't need to be here. I'm telling you right now.
Well, what's the legal ramifications on that?
Now, the cop who brought the guns on the premises unlawfully and wouldn't listen to the man in charge of security for the office has decided that the guy who was securing the office doesn't need to be there.
I mean,
I'm
Yep.
not a lawyer.
no. Well, neither are we.
So, does not make sense.
You know, I mean, the sad part is they're both. It's not that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm glad he didn't pull a gun on me because I would have probably pulled mine on him. But
I started to
I'm glad it wasn't me. Would have had one dead security guard.
Army.
yeah, and
But I didn't. I just.
the only thing is he feels that he was in the right. Now I don't know what your guys' rules are, and I know it says no firearms. The only problem is,
But common sense.
Yeah.
I know it says no firearms, but come on, look at our costumes.
He has no common sense.
I know.
okay.
He shouldn't be
I mean, it would be different if he walked up here and was in city clothes and had a shirt on, and then he seen his shirt move and he had a gun on.
Exactly, that's what I
That
thought
makes a
it was.
huge difference.
That's what I thought it
Or
was.
Joe Schmuck off the streets walks up here and it's
That's
open
what
carry and he's got his gun
exactly.
hanging out.
You know what he
It
did?
says downstairs no weapons.
When I got on the elevator to leave, he kept his gun out and kept his foot on the elevator.
Yeah, because he told you were being detained. What's the matter? You don't like that? Doesn't that suck? Isn't that a crappy feeling there, fella? Gaston? Did your feelings get hurt? Officer Gaston? Now, remember, this cop who brought weapons somewhere he wasn't supposed to said the security guard who's speaking clearly, objectively, and factually is a wannabe. Remember that.
You're not going anywhere. Are you kidding me?
Copy that. Yes, ma'am. Bye. Well, I got my directions from here.
Who's that?
Well, I gotta go back in there, but
Oh, you gotta wait out here, because you were the one that...
This is hilarious now. The security guard gets off the phone, says, okay, tells the cops, all right, I got to get back to my duties. And they're like, oh, no, wait here. Now it's apparent that they're trying to pin it on him and get him locked up. Because he's like, I'm reporting the crime to you. They're like, no, we're trying to hem you up. Don't go anywhere.
called and we gotta get this cleared up.
yeah, and you are responding on official business, you can come in there.
No, you gotta wait out here, sir.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but I've got my directions from the Federal Protective Service, I have to listen to them.
Where is your office? It's right here, right?
Yes, sir. I have my duties to perform, I have to get back to them.
All right, well, hold on 1 second, okay, man?
I have my duties to perform. I have to get back to him. And this other cop now is going to do the old cops playing like, hold on here, let's not escalate this. When in fact, they're the ones trying to escalate something on the security guard who is obeying the law.
I don't want it to escalate any further, okay? Let me run it with my sergeant real quick. Because it's right here, right?
The security guard, according to what he said, security guard said, you're not allowed to have your gun in here.
At all.
You know,
No one.
At all. You can't. You gotta go. So he proceeded to basically have a conversation with him like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a deputy. And at that point...
And I just said,
Really? I'm a sovereign. Don't you see that?
a locker up.
Yeah, he wants to take his gear off and everything.
Right.
So he draws his gun basically and points it at him. So he goes to leave.
Because this is what he...
Notice how the story changes each time it's told.
says, I'm doing like this. I said, you're telling me. He said, get your hands off your weapon. I said, what are you talking about? I'm just like this. He said,
he doesn't understand.
Okay, let me talk to him.
Is he okay to go back down to that office for now? It's right there.
I don't think so.
Okay, he's telling us he just got the call.
From what I'm hearing right now, he needs to go.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I may be. From what I understand.
Yep, now they've all pretty much agreed the security guard needs to get locked up. Not the cop who was breaking the rules of the office or law or policy or whatever the hell it is. The security guard enforcing the rules of the building needs to go. Not the sovereign citizen who was breaking the rules.
Well, I agree.
Call 212. Run that by them because I don't think he should be.
I agree.
You got his, what was his side of the...
Well, he was trying to tell me we're not allowed in this building, period.
Right, with
Armed without official business, I believe, is what he really said. Again, look how they erroneously and vaguely speak to each other and conspire.
I get you.
Yeah, you're as far as
he was in that office.
So now you got his side.
Let's say he's a time bomb.
Yeah.
Listen to this cop saying the security guard is a ticking time bomb. Are you kidding me? Talk about the pots calling the 10 pots calling the one kettle black.
Goofy as hell.
How did he get a gun shot? I know, me too.
Who are these other guys?
I have this one. Who's this guy right here?
He has something to do with the building. He's not his boss, but he obviously works for the IRS.
Okay, so this is a federal building.
No, there's a federal office.
This is a federal office.
Yeah.
The building belongs to
federal office.
Whoa, he should be only in the office and he got nothing to do with this mess out here.
CPS or something like that, security.
Yeah, he ain't gonna do this.
Then he's sitting there telling us you can't have a gun in the building. I'm like, well, then why is he walking around with a gun? Nobody's allowed to have a gun.
No doubt. No. Call 212.
Why didn't you say to 911 that he was a deputy sheriff? That was
I did tell him.
because I don't think they told us.
I called the FPS. I told him it was a deputy sheriff that was refusing my directions. If they didn't
Yeah.
give me that information, I have.
Yeah, they might not have.
Why didn't you tell your boss it was a sovereign citizen?
Okay. Did you feel threatened in any way?
Yes.
How so?
He had his hand on his weapon. He wasn't listening to my directions.
Did he draw? Did he act like he was going to draw?
Well, did you catch that little? Well, let's go back 10 seconds.
Okay. Did you feel threatened in any way?
Yes.
How so?
He had his hand on his weapon. He wasn't listening to my directions.
Did he draw? Did he act like he was going to draw?
He had his hands on his weapons. He was not listening to my directions, and he had weapons here when he wasn't supposed to.
Sounds pretty cut and dry to me.
Common sense says he's law enforcement. Yeah, he.
Common sense tells you that he's a sovereign citizen. Well, if he's law enforcement, why wouldn't he follow the directives of security guard instead of being all cocky and keeping his hands near his weapons? Again, they're trying to... This isn't the place... You should say that this isn't the place to hold court, sir.
He had his hands on his weapons. He was not listening to my directions, and he had weapons here when he wasn't supposed to.
But common sense says he's law enforcement. Yeah, he's here on government time, and his government time, he shouldn't be here. But did he say, did he draw his weapon? Does he have a holster?
A lot of times we go like this.
Yeah.
Sorry, man, but
You know. No. Well, was he like this, or was his hand?
He had his hand. He had his hand on the handle. That to me tells me you're about ready in trouble.
Yeah, I wonder what a cop would do if he told you to get your hands off your weapons and you didn't do it immediately and then try to turn around and walk away. A lot of dead people would like to answer that question.
So we need to determine if there's going to be any legal ramifications on this either way.
We're going to have to work that out. We're going to call our detective bureau right now and talk to them real quick, so...
Did you tell him that he doesn't want to listen to our directives and wants to go back?
I didn't really tell him that as much about it.
He's the one that's reporting the crime.
As far as I'm concerned, I had to get back to my duties.
We got to call your boss. Listen, do not make this worse, man. Okay, please.
I'm interrupted by the federal protector.
Do not make this worse by trying to do what your boss told you. We're trying to lock you up. Don't you understand that?
I have to get back to my job. I'm gonna call
You called 911 and now you want to
I did not call 911.
Who did?
That gentleman did.
I'm gonna call your boss right now, and then we're gonna call Brandon. How far is that room away? It's right there, right?
Yes, sir.
Nobody's gonna go in there with all of us here. That's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
why.
Is that what you're? Is that?
I'm gonna call
So you're disrupting business then.
police.
No, but is that your concern?
What's the concern?
That somebody's going to go in there?
No, there are two taxpayers in there right now.
I told them to go sit in their car until it was
Oh, okay.
Well, we kicked the taxpayer out of here so we can try to lock you up.
right
So-
there.
I think only criminal investigation is allowed to look at it.
Sir, stay
Sir?
here for us, please, unless you're staying right there.
I'm staying right
But
over
yeah,
there.
Okay.
that's confusing.
See, now they were ready to use force against him because they're trying to lock him up.
As
What's
far
wrong
as
with him?
okay.
What's wrong with him? That is so grand.
This guy's a boob. At what point do you think it's good to pull a gun out and point it at a law enforcement officer?
He's in full uniform, got his diesel on, everything.
I mean, he's
He's got his whole superhero costume on. I mean, come on.
screaming. I'm like, okay,
Badge
this,
on,
this guy's
radio.
dumb. So I'm gonna just leave. Yeah. I'll come back later. He followed. He said, I said, what are you doing?
Yeah, just
You need to stop.
Yeah,
I'm
just-
putting you in cuffs. I said,
He said,
and
"Hey,
go
now
back
I'm
inside.
ready."
He said, it's too late.
And he
I hit the thing.
Basically,
He
just
puts his
like
foot. Now he's got his gun out,
And,
and he's
you know, just-
still with the gun out. He's got his foot on
holding the door
I said,
open.
man, move your foot so I can go.
Really? Yeah.
And I realized this guy is goofy as hell. He's got a gun.
Yeah, that's no.
Yeah.
As I said, he may be going to jail.
I guess there is no super.
He might be going to jail. They're trying to take our down. He's trying to act like this. He's trying to take my job. He's trying to act like me. Take people to jail. You can't take sovereigns to jail. Look at my costume. Common sense tells you I can do whatever I want, whenever I want.
Guys are on. I mean, they're maybe here, but they're
Get off my porch.
like an hour and a half away. So out here.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Good.
Okay.
Notice how this guy is very calm and rational, clear, factual, and objective.
But like I said, the witnesses.
No,
that
they already
actually-
got his info.
The witnesses that actually saw what happened were tax follow the guard's instructions. He's telling you to leave. You have to leave. And if you don't, you're disrupting tax administration, and I'm calling the police on you.
Okay.
And then I started calling police, and I think that's when he kind of walked away. Well, I don't know if he walked away.
He wasn't walking away.
He kept telling him to take your hand off the weapon. I heard that 4 or 5 times.
Well, considering
4 or 5 times.
he has a weapon too, I wouldn't take my hand off either.
Well,
Well, considering he's got a weapon too, I wouldn't have took my hands off either. We could have had a gunfight right there in the IRS office. Even though I wasn't allowed to have my gun, common sense tells you when I'm wearing my sovereign citizen costume, I can do whatever I want. You know what I'm going to say.
supposed to be in the building with the gun, period. Like, for somebody to walk in here with a gun, honestly, I mean, I respect y'all's position, but you don't come in a government office is he wearing a sidearm? I saw it was in that He allowed me in his building, period. He allowed.
Again, they don't want to hear that he's not allowed in here, period, regardless of status. He just laid a whopper right on his head. I'm going to rewind that.
Position, but you don't come in a government office. Well, he ain't supposed to be in the building with the gun, period. Like, for somebody to walk in here with a gun, honestly, I mean, I respect y'all's position, but you don't come in a government office is he wearing a sidearm? I saw it was in that He allowed me in his building, period. He allowed me in the building, period. That's an officer.
So that guy's saying, unless you're on official business, you're not allowed in the armed in that building at all, in the whole building.
That guy was an officer? The guy we call the police on was a police officer?
Yeah, he's a deputy sheriff.
Either way, he ain't allowed to have it.
Yeah, he's a sovereign.
No, he's not. Well, maybe not their
Unless he's on official business responding, he cannot be in here.
I did not know it. So,
You know, how many times are these cops going to ignore the fact that if they're not there on official business, they cannot be armed? They just keep bypassing it over and over and over and over again, and it gets lost in the shuffle.
you separated that. He can't be in that office.
I didn't know he was an officer.
He's in full uniform.
But it wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
It wouldn't have mattered to me anyway. But, you know.
He's in full costume, and then the guy says it doesn't matter. And then they ignore that.
I probably would have been a little slower calling the police. I just went out and said, look, you got to follow the instructions of the guard. I don't care if you're the mayor or the congressman or whoever. You still, if he tells you leave this office or one of us tells you to leave, you got to leave. Okay, that's.
Lucky you got a little bit of experience in
Okay.
time, right? You ain't freaking waffle his ass. Oh, I know. Now, and he's going. I'm doing.
Good thing you got some experience in blah, 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 and you didn't blue waffle his ass. Blue waffle.
This office or one of us tells you to leave, you got to leave. Okay, that's.
Lucky you got a little bit of experience in time, right? You ain't freaking waffle his ass. Oh, I know. Now, and he's going. I'm doing like this. Yeah. Get your hand off your weapon. I said, my hand's not on my weapon. Yeah. I mean, this.
I'm doing like this. And one hand's on the taser and the other one's like an inch away from his gun. Your hands are on your weapons, dummy. Why don't you just stick them up? Why don't you dispel the guy's suspicion? Say, all right, bro, my bad, I didn't realize. I'm leaving. But nope, your ego kept your hands on your weapons.
Honestly, this or this.
Exactly. And I said, my hand's not on my weapon. Then he pulls it. I'm like, whoa, take that gun. This dude is. Yeah, but you're like, I mean.
Isn't that funny? When guns get pointed at you for nothing?
Yeah, I know. That's why I
get a statement from both sides.
End up with a report. I don't know. Well, now their IA may do something. That's.
He said that.
I'll be honest with you. This is the first time I've ever dealt with this. I've been on for 13 years. I've never had a security guard pull a gun on another officer. Dude, I'm telling you, and I'll be honest. When I turn around to walk away, I said, "This is dumb fucking connection." You know, because I just figured I'd diffuse it by just leave. Yeah. And that's when he follows me out over here.
I just wanted to. That sounds good.
I'm not here to lie to anybody. No, that's what I said. Your side, his side, I really don't care. But personally, he's in the wrong. I mean, I was waiting to. I'm like, suspect. But I never said anything. We got security guard, and then the way they made it sound is there was like an ODO here. Yeah, that's why I knew he was goofy. That was walking him out the door, and we're like, well, he followed me, and he kept his gun out the whole time. Yeah.
What?
Am I being detained at this moment? Am I allowed to go back to my job?
No, you can't go back. He just told you to wait a minute.
Nobody's even in there, buddy.
Okay, so you were telling me that I'm not allowed to go back to, correct?
Sir, you have
Okay. All right.
you have to wait until we're done.
Take care of this before I can go back to doing my duties, sir.
I'm gonna go back.
So you can't take your people now?
So now they're detaining the guy who was enforcing the rules.
Hey, man. How you doing? Been better. So,
We're finding him.
Now, here you go. These three guys that just came in are the internal affairs. If you don't know what that is, that's the group of cops within it's a group of policemen within the police station, within the same department the other costume sovereign citizens work for. These are the extra sovereigns. They're more sovereign than the patrol guys. So these guys are supposed to be objective investigators of themselves. They investigate the other cops. And they always claim to be fair, thorough, and transparent. So these guys are here to investigate what's going on and to see who's in the right and wrong.
He pulled a gun out on me. Are we gonna arrest him? I was.
Boom. Within 5 seconds, the internal affairs guy says we're gonna arrest him. So there you go. There's your internal affairs. The objective, self-investigatory, transparent body of police within the police body.
I mean, I came up to ask him. We're arresting him? And what we're going to do yet, we wait for our investigative services to get here and go from there with it. Oh, he talked to Dan. He talked to Gertman. What did he say?
Stand by on a report, get their information. If I, with you guys, needs to call him. I'll give you guys his number. And then we gotta go talk to him after we're done.
Okay. So basically, Dan even said it. He goes, I don't even know what kind of report to make.
I know,
Right. Let alone
There is no
crime.
Right.
You know, I mean, this,
crime did they commit?
other than the fact that this boob should never have a gun. I mean, my personal opinion, when you walk up here in a full uniform,
Right, that's what he said.
I mean, I was expecting to.
I mean, just why can't he just recognize our costume? Our costume is everything. Like the guy on the far left here, he looks like he'd be taking my order somewhere, or a clerk at a gas station in a bad neighborhood. So that guy should be able to walk around with a gun because he's got a little embroidered star on his shirt. And the guy who's wearing a purple polo shirt, he should be, he's a sovereign, can go anywhere he feels like because he has a badge.
Show up because all he said was, yeah, it's just a black male, and they give no description of no clothing, never said he was a deputy, nothing. So I'm waiting to show up and just have some black guy walking around in civvies. I get off the elevator, he's standing here, and I'm like, what the hell is going on?
I come here in plain clothes all the time with my badge and gun on. I go to any floor I want to go to.
Well, he's trying to say this is a federal building. I'm like, no, that may be a federal office. This is not a federal building. As a matter of fact, it's for Seagate. The city owns the damn thing, as far as I know. So,
Is this security guard a new guy?
I don't know how long he's been on there.
You ever seen him before?
No, I never even. He says that he doesn't have a boss either.
well, somebody got to be in charge of this.
You guys want to talk to him? I'd like to talk to please. I'll go over.
Watching, you got a gun, and if you're careful.
Yeah. Well, he said he didn't follow you out.
We don't know. He's going to ask.
All right. So, you're talking about the sheriff's deputy?
Yeah, did he have an appointment?
No, he didn't have an appointment. He was coming in here on his personal time, armed as he is right now. And I told him he could not have weapons on property. He had to take them off. He asked if there was a drop box. I told him there was no drop box available.
Okay, all right.
And
Can we get some information from you real quick? I'm Captain Grove from Town
yes, sir.
Affairs.
What's up?
You can come out here and talk to them.
So, Deputy Gaston, the guy who was not obeying the policy, rule, law, is suing for severe emotional and psychological distress. You know, the things that police are paid to do to citizens. This is what you guys do to the citizenry every single day. You cause severe emotional and psychological distress. That's like your job title. That's your job description. The fact that you're suing somebody who you said is a wannabe. Oh, he's a wannabe, but you suffered severe emotional and psychological distress. Oh, poor Officer Gaston. Just your sovereignty didn't prevail, so you have to sue. What a loser. See what we got here. Seth Eklund has reportedly been fired, which is a shame, and has pleaded not guilty to aggravated menacing. I wonder if they arrested him here. And I wish they would have put the beginning of this video. It's taking me too long to find it right now. But anyway, this is The Blade. Go subscribe and subscribe to my channel and go to my Etsy store, please, if you would be so kind. Thanks for watching. Peace, tranquility, chicken grease, fried chicken, chicken tenders dipped in macaroni. I love you. Bye.